there are workers' rights are being subjected to a variety of challenges across the nation. What will you do to protect workers' rights, such as unionizing, etc., that are being attacked across the country? Commissioner Grisham.
Thank you. Well, the federal government is not the best example, is it, of protecting workers' rights and equality and benefits for partners? So let's start right there. That as a member of Congress, how about if I refuse to take access to the very benefits that are not available to average Americans, certainly not to union workers and their families, and we've got to also make sure that we do that and protect those opportunities in New Mexico. I'm really proud to tell you that I fought for a workers' compensation bill for the firefighters union. It now has broad appeal to make sure that when you don't know what happens to you on the job, that you don't have to prove that and fight against that large corporate environment or insurance company. Your rights come first. As a county commissioner, we've created 2 brand new unions. We're very clear about collective bargaining, and I'm sure that you've read and seen that we're taking on the sheriff for his violations of collective bargaining, and I'll tell you, we're going to win that. But if states have a chance to really do this work effectively, the federal government has to engage and invest in supporting working families, workers' rights, consumer protection, individual rights, and equality. And of course, I'm the candidate who can get that done. Thank you.
Senator Griego, on workers' rights.
So the reason why 90% of the unions who've endorsed in this race, from the teachers to the nurses to the bakers, to the communications workers, to the sheet metal workers, most of the unions are standing with me in this race. And there's a reason that I have a long, consistent record. I'm not with them every once in a while. I don't speak out about worker rights when it's convenient. I speak out, including when sometimes we've had to take on, again, some very conservative Democrats in our own party who aren't pro-worker rights, who weren't for the minimum wage. I'm very proud that on City Council, Martin Heinrich and I worked very closely to get the minimum wage increased over opposition, not just from Republicans, but from folks in our own party. So if you think about worker rights, I've spent most of my career, I'm a former AFT member when I taught at UNM and CNM. I'm a former AFGE member when I worked for the U.S. Labor Department on child labor issues and on worker rights issues. I've published on worker rights issues. So again, you know, I know it's important for all of us as Democrats at election time to talk about how much we like worker rights and collective bargaining and unions. The question is, who has the long-term, consistent record of actually delivering? And I got to tell you, one of the biggest fights I had on City Council was to save the jobs in a budget crisis of 400 public workers, the folks who pick up our garbage, the folks who work in solid waste, the folks who are just trying to, like all of us, get by. And because the Democrats stuck together, we were able to not have to lay anybody off. We were able to fight that fight for them. So collective bargaining, worker rights, they're not just a concept to me. They're something I've spent the majority of my career working on. I'm always going to stand by working people. It's where I come from. My mom didn't have a union. She worked 2 minimum wage jobs, as I said. She could have used a union. She certainly could have. In those days, they weren't organizing folks. Now we have SEIU organizing some of those very folks. And I'm proud to be standing with all the members of organized labor who overwhelmingly are supporting me in this race.
Thank you. Mayor Chavez, on workers' rights.
Actually, the fair comment, and I accepted Senator Griego's challenge early on when he wouldn't take the word challenge to tell the truth. So we're going to speak truth here this morning. All 3 candidates have labor endorsements, and I was pleased last week to be endorsed by the letter carriers. IBEW has endorsed my candidacy because they know where I started, on the picket lines in California with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta. And that's one of the reasons why Dolores has endorsed my candidacy. I'm very proud that the President last week honored her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the highest civilian honor that anyone can receive. In Congress, I will work hard for employee choice. I think it's an important piece of legislation that will protect employees' rights. I was proud as mayor to sign the minimum wage law into law. My signature's on that, no other mayor, no one else. And I strongly support minimum wage both at the state level and the federal level. When I left office, we had fair share for city employees. We had binding arbitration on non-economic matters. We had a 3% pay raise, which the Republican mayor and Republican council repealed. Not only took away the pay raise, gave them a 3% pay cut. The final part of this is what we're doing in our trade agreements. You know, I believe in trade, but we have to have fair trade. And what we're doing in these current agreements, Colombia, South Korea, is we're just exporting jobs, which of course exploits workers in other countries, but it also lowers the ability and reduces the ability of workers in this country to organize and to have living wages.